To transform society, you must have influence. If you cannot influence, you cannot transform. And this is why the word influence is so important to us in this ministry. We call it kingdom leadership influence. Because if you do not have influence, no one will listen to you. And we found it very clearly in the book of Proverbs chapter 11, Ecclesiastes chapter 11 rather. It says that there was a wise man who could change the city, but because he was poor, no man heard his voice. I think it's very important for us to understand that Mr. Nelson Mandela understood that for him to have clout, he had to get what made him influential. He got a law degree. You can't argue with a man who's as smart as you. And he stood before the white oppressive government with their degree in his pocket and spoke their language. Mr. Mandela didn't speak Afrikaans, he learned it. Why? Because the Bible says, be not ignorant of your enemy's devices. That means don't run from your enemy, study him. Fight him with his own weapons and dismantle everything that he thought you did not know. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I believe Jesus Christ introduced to us the 4 principles of transforming society, and they are all related to influence. I want to write the words down to describe them. The first one is integration. The second one is invasion. The third one is influence. And the fourth one is impact. All of these are necessary if we are going to see change in our countries. Mr. Mandela understood that he must integrate into the system. So he became a lawyer and became a part of the process and became an agitator. Secondly, he invaded the environment. He agitated against corruption and against injustice. He also influenced the environment by his conviction and his dedication to what is right. And he impacted the whole nation because he believed that what he was fighting for was worth dying for. In other words, he understood the system that Jesus introduced to us. First of all, Jesus said these words in Matthew 5, you are the light of the world, and you must not be hid under a bushel. I think if you and I understand light, the word light means revelation knowledge. That means you and I have the information and the revelation to expose corruption, injustice, and unrighteousness. And we must not be silent about it. I am calling every Bahamian in my hearing to come out of the closet, stop criticizing, and get involved and make changes in our own country. We must not just quietly pray. We must what? Come out of the closet. Let your light so shine, he says, before men, that they may see your good works, and they will what? Glorify your Father who's in heaven. Let them see your works. I think we are not going to be silent anymore. Mr. Nelson Mandela has proven to us that silence doesn't change things. This is why the first command of Jesus Christ is, you are the light of the world. The second command is Matthew 13. It says, you are the salt of the earth. Notice, salt has to do with influence, impact, changing the environment. It transforms what it touches. And then the third thing Jesus said is, the kingdom of heaven is like yeast. Yeast affects the dough completely. It transforms the entire dough that it touches. He's giving us the system of God for changing the world. And the fourth one, he says, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed. The mustard seed is the smallest seed in the world, and yet it grows into one of the largest plants on earth. It takes over wherever it grows. He says, you may start small, but you can transform the earth. I was thinking all week with tears in my eyes as I watched all the stories about Mr. Nelson Mandela. And I was thinking, this one man from a little village that we visited some years ago, this man, one man, stopped the whole world. Every single country. I'm talking about Chinese and Japanese and Asians, Africans and Canadians. Everybody is calling his name. How can a black man from a little village stop the whole world? Because he was a mustard seed. Now it's your turn. You know, last night, or should I say this morning, many of you may not have understood all that Mr. Charlie Masala said, but I was invited to speak on 4 radio stations in South Africa this morning. The first one was 1:30 a.m. and I was on for about 20 minutes. The second one was 2:45 a.m. I was on for 30 minutes. The third one was 3:40 a.m. I was on for 30 minutes. The last one was at 3:50 for 40 minutes. I went to bed 5 a.m. They said that I was speaking to over 62 million people in Africa last night or this morning. Why? They wanted to hear from a Bahamian born in Baintown. They demanded for me to speak to them. Why? Because somehow a mustard seed from Baintown could affect a nation led by Mr. Nelson Mandela. I am so amazed that God can use you and anybody if you're willing to pay the price and subject yourself to all that is necessary to bring change. It says that the mustard seed, even though it is the smallest seed, it becomes what? The largest garden plant, and then it becomes a tree. So that others can come and be in his branches. Many can be influenced. Mr. Nelson Mandela was my mentor from Africa. He was my example of great leadership and sacrifice. That's why I love him so much. That's why there are tears in my eyes this morning. Because we need some leaders in the Bahamas who are not just trying to look for privilege, but they are willing to go to prison. This is my heart this morning. And there are 10 keys to impacting the world that he taught us. I want to give you those 10 keys. The first one is action. You got to take action. The second one is involvement. We've got to get involved in our own transformation. The third one is engagement. That means attack society when it is evil. The fourth one is confrontation. We hate to be confrontational, but you have to confront that which is wrong. You cannot change what you don't confront. And then fifth, we need to challenge. He challenged the entire regime of South Africa. You know, I was watching the BBC last night, or should I say this morning at 5 a.m. before I went to bed. And I was thinking as they told the story, this one man dismantled the entire machinery of apartheid. They offered him deals to come out of prison. They begged him that they would give him a car and a house and security if he just stopped fighting. He says, throw away the key, lock the door, I'm not leaving prison. Because if my people are not free, I don't want to be free. What a leader. We need that leader in every country. Come on, clap your hands loud if you need that kind of leader in our nation. Number 6, interaction. We have to interact with society to change it. Number 7, influence. We got to influence the environment to bring change. We must impact it. That's number 8. Number 9, we can change it. And number 10, we can transform the world. All of these words define the spirit of an agent of change, a leader who doesn't just sit by and watch, but they decide to determine what happens in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to look at this picture for a minute. Sitting next to Mr. Mandela on his left, which is your right, is the man who represented apartheid. His predecessor was the one who put Mr. Mandela in prison. And Mr. Mandela forgave every one of them. You know, sometimes I'm embarrassed when I hear people say they're Christians. I'm talking about pastors now, and didn't forgive as much as Mandela forgave. He never spoke of forgiveness. He did it. I wonder how much you still hate people who hurt you. People who robbed you of your whole life for 27 years, took away your wife and your kids from you. I heard last night that when his mother died, they didn't allow him to leave prison to go to the funeral. I heard that when his little boy was killed in an accident, they refused to let him go to the funeral of his 10-year-old boy. What kind of evil system was that? I heard that when he wrote letters to his wife, Winnie, they burned the letters right on the prison floor. She never got them. What kind of regime? And he forgave them. You still hate your ex-husband? Can't stand your ex-wife? Listen, bitterness will destroy you, not the other person. Mr. Mandela understood, if I forgive, I'm free. Come on, clap your hands. If I forgive, I set myself free. He understood the 4 kingdom keys for transformation. The first one is integration. That means you must get involved in the system. Then he understood invasion. You must overcome and overwhelm and dominate the environment. He also understood the power of influence. That means he was willing to impact and change the environment, transform it. And he also understood how to impact society by impressing on it the convictions that are right and righteous. He was not only effective, he had an effect. It's my hope that we will learn this day from around the world